In their last game of the season, Justin Fields and the Bears have the chance to end the Packers season in their own house at Lambeau Field. Can the Bears get it done? Watch this video to hear my thoughts. What's going on, guys? I'm back with the Chicago Bears pregame prediction videos, which I'll be doing before every single Bears game this year. So subscribe to my channel if you guys want my thoughts before and after each Bears game. And we have sadly reached the final game of the 2023 season for our Chicago Bears because we are not making the playoffs. So this will be my final video, prediction video that is, for this season. I will be having a lot of other content out for you guys during the off season. Prediction videos, reaction videos, discussion videos. So there's going to be a lot of content on my channel. My videos will not be going anywhere anytime soon. And thank you guys for watching my channel and my prediction videos the entire season. And I'm obviously still at the Airbnb, so the background is not the best. I apologize for that. I also have a kind of weird situation going on for my camera stand. I'm putting it on my bed and it's fallen over a few times, so forgive me if the video goes sideways a few times, but I had to get this video out for you guys because obviously this is the biggest game now of the season for our Chicago Bears because we have the chance to end our rival season in their own house at Lambeau Field. And if you told me before the season that the Bears would finish with 8 wins on the year and end the Packers season at Lambeau Field, I would be very, very happy with that season, okay? Even if it did not mean a playoff berth, I don't really care because this year was not really about making the playoffs. It was about showing continued growth on both offense and defense and starting to win some games, maybe not win the division, but win some games and be competitive and finally beat the Green Bay Packers. And to end their season would mean a big, big deal to all the fans, to all the players, and to the organization as a whole. So I'm treating this week, guys, as a playoff game for the Chicago Bears because eliminating the Packers is as good almost as a playoff victory to me being a Bears fan, because obviously I hate the Green Bay Packers like all of you guys do as well. I mean, fuck these guys. They've ruined my childhood. They've ruined so many of my memories. Being a football fan, being a fan of this team, I have so many memories, vivid memories of Aaron Rodgers ruining the Bears season at the last second, 2013, 2010, the NFC Championship game, and basically every single time he goes to Soldier Field, he owns us, he beats us. So to return the favor one time and to beat Jordan Love and the Packers and to end their season would be so freaking sweet. So I know it's going to be very, very tough. I know it's going to be very, very hard because the Packers are playing pretty good football this season. Jordan Love is playing pretty good football, so I'm not acting like it's going to be an easy thing to accomplish, but with how the Bears are playing football as of late, I do think it's possible for the Bears to do this. And again, a lot of narratives would change if the Bears can win a game like this. Narratives would change around Justin Fields. Right now, a lot of Bears fans think he's, maybe a decent quarterback, but not a good enough quarterback to actually win you anything special. And he has not been able to beat the Green Bay Packers anytime during his Bears career. If he can finally beat the Packers, put on a good performance against the Packers, that would strengthen his case to stay and be the quarterback of the future for the Chicago Bears. For Matt Eberflus as well, this would be a big, big win for him to, stay as head coach next year, because even though he's been turning things around, the one thing he has not been able to do yet is to beat the Green Bay Packers, and to get a signature win on the road and end your rival season would mean a great deal. I know to the McCaskies, like as much as we hate the McCaskies, they really do want to beat the Packers. They've just been too incompetent to put the right people in charge. But if Eberflus does beat the Packers, I can guarantee you there is no chance he's going anywhere next season, which, to some fans, they may not like that. But guys, if he wins 8 games and beats the Packers, I think Eberflus does deserve the chance to come back in that scenario, which I can't believe I'm saying with how much I've hated on him the entire season. But yeah, it's going to be a big game for the entire team, for these guys, and to turn around this, again, narrative that the Packers own the Bears, because that has been a fact for the past 5, 10, 15 plus years. Okay, the Packers have destroyed us over and over and over again, ended our seasons, made us cry as kids, as adults as well. Like, to beat them and to go into the offseason with the high of ending their season would mean so much to a lot of different people. And again, I cannot minimize how important that is for us fans and for the, for the players and the organization as a whole. We could finally talk some shit back to our Packers fans, friends that have been talking shit to us for 15, 20, 30 plus years at this point. It would feel so freaking good. So I really hope Justin Fields and the Bears understand how vital it is to get a win here. Even though the Bears have no chance of making the playoffs, again, beating the Packers will be almost as good as a playoff win, in my opinion, if we can actually end their season at Lambeau Field. The Bears have not won at Lambeau Field since 2015, since the Brett Favre retirement game. So it has been a long time. Obviously this year in the first matchup, the Packers completely destroyed us. Jordan Love went off. They scored 38 points. That was a very depressing game to watch as a Bears fan, but a lot has changed since that game for the Chicago Bears. They're playing much better ball on defense. Obviously, they added Montez Sweat. Kyler Gordon is back from injury. He was not available for the majority of that Packers game. Tevin Jenkins also was injured for that game. Tevin Jenkins is back. And the team as a whole is just like so much more cohesive, and they're gelling now when they weren't gelling in week 1 because everybody was new really, to the team. So it's going to be a much different Bears team. Obviously a pretty good Packers team they're still going up against, but let's talk about the Packers, break down both sides of the ball for them. And talking about their offense, first of all, they rank number 11 in points scored per game, number 13 in yards gained per game, number 17 passing attack, and number 15 run game. And look, as much as I hate to admit it, Jordan Love is playing very good football as of late. Okay, if you look at his stats, they're pretty damn good. Okay, he's passed for 3,843 passing yards, 30 passing touchdowns, 11 interceptions, completion percentage of 63.1. And I think the scheme obviously does help him out a lot. Matt LaFleur, as much as Packers fans sometimes don't want to admit it, is one of the best play callers I feel like in the NFL, and they have some pieces on this team for him. So I don't want to minimize how good Jordan Love has been, though, because, early on in the season, I thought Jordan Love would be a complete bust, but he has been at least an above average quarterback, and he's making quick decisions. He's, going deep with the football and being more accurate now, going deep when early on he was not really that accurate. He's playing a lot better ball in terms of accuracy, in terms of ball placement, in terms of decision making as well. He has not thrown that many picks this entire season. 11 is not bad for your first year, actually starting. So Jordan Love is playing pretty well. Okay, the Packers do know how to develop quarterbacks, obviously, and Jordan Love is another case of that, but he is still no Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion. Obviously, still no Brett Favre, at least as of now. He is not that, and the first game of the season, he was going up against an Allen Williams coach defense, which was one of the worst in football. This time, it's going to be a much tougher Eberflus coach defense, and with the addition of Montez Sweat, it could be a little bit tougher for Jordan Love this time around. Okay, this will be a true test for Jordan Love to see how good he actually has become. But, talking about the playmakers, Christian Watson could be returning for this game. I'm not totally sure. I'm recording this video on Wednesday. In the injury report, Christian Watson did play today, but he was limited, so not sure if Watson is going to play. He's been out for the past couple weeks for the Packers. In the first game against the Bears, he also was not present for that game. Obviously, it didn't matter. The Bears still lost by a lot, but if Christian Watson is in here, that does change the Packers offense and makes it more dynamic, more explosive. He's a guy that can get some carries, lateral carries that can also, make those go for big explosive yardage, because he is one of the fastest guys in this league. And he does have some drop issues, some issues in ball tracking, but send him on a streak downfield and he can burn you. And after the catch, he is a menace to deal with. So Christian Watson is going to be a big weapon to, handle if you are the Chicago Bears defense. But aside from him, they got a couple other really talented guys too. Jaden Reed, a local guy that grew up in the Chicago suburbs. He's having a pretty good year, 681 receiving yards, 8 receiving touchdowns, 29 first downs. He's a guy that Jordan Love really has been targeting a lot as of late. So look for him to be involved in this Packers offense. And Romeo Doubs also 674 yards. They got Dontavian Wicks with 520. So Jordan Love has been spreading the ball out a lot to multiple different guys. So, again, all the cornerbacks on the Bears will have to be locked in, because Jordan Love could be going to any of his options, and that includes the tight ends as well. Okay, they got 2 talented tight ends. The rookies, both Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft have around the same amount of yards. 341 for Luke Musgrave, 324 for Tucker Kraft. So again, Jordan Love going to all of his different options basically equally, which makes it pretty tough to defend against him as a defense. So a lot of talented pieces on this Packers offense, and obviously AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones especially, I'm also very worried about, especially Aaron Jones, because Aaron Jones seems to always destroy the Bears every time he goes up against us. In the last game, I believe he had around 120 all-purpose yards in that game. He took a couple dump off and screen passes for big positive yardage because the Bears could not tackle him. And he's a guy that is tough to tackle in the open field because he can be pretty slippery, pretty agile moving laterally. So the linebackers in the secondary definitely have to do a better job of wrapping up around Aaron Jones and bringing him down into the dirt. And same with A.J. Dillon. Okay, A.J. Dillon is more of the power back. He has 613 yards on the season, so more than Aaron Jones. But lately, Aaron Jones has been getting more of the carries. So I expect, Aaron Jones to get the bulk of the work here, but A.J. Dillon also could be a factor. Either case, is two talented backs the Bears defense has to defend against. So pretty talented Packers offense. You can see they score a lot of points, top 11 in points per game. So going to be a tough matchup for the Bears defense. But talking about the Packers defense now, they rank number 14 in points allowed per game, number 21 in yards allowed per game, number 11 pass defense, number 28 run defense. And defensive coordinator Joe Barry is absolutely despised by Packers fans. Okay, they absolutely hate this man. They want to probably deport him out of the country. That's how much they actually hate the guy. And, Joe Barry has definitely underperformed with this Packers defense. With some of the talent that they have, the Packers defense has been very up and down the entire year. And as of late, they have allowed some points to some bad offenses. Okay, against the Vikings, they were pretty decent. Against Nick Mullins and the other guy that they had starting, the rookie quarterback. But obviously those quarterbacks are not anything special. But against, the Panthers, against Bryce Young, another struggling offense, they allowed him to go off and score 30 points. Against the Buccaneers, they allowed 34. Against the Giants and Tommy DeVito, they allowed 24. So definitely the opportunity to put up some points against a Joe Barry-led defense, because he has done a pretty bad job sometimes of utilizing the skill sets of his personnel. The secondary definitely has had some up and downs. They've allowed some big explosive yardage at times this year, and Jair Alexander, as good as he has been in the past, has had some pretty bad games this year. He's not really having the same season as we've been accustomed to seeing out of him, and he has also butted heads with the coaching staff. He did get suspended by the team last game against the Vikings for going out on the field during the coin toss when he was not named a captain. So we'll see what effects that situation is going to have, if any. I mean, he's still a very talented guy, a very talented player, and a guy that Justin Fields has to watch out for in the secondary throwing to him, because he can be pretty good when he is locked in. But aside from that, they traded Rasul Douglas at the trade deadline, so that's one guy we don't have to worry about. But again, in the secondary, there's not a whole lot of really talented guys. They do have Eric Stokes, their first round pick, but he's had some up and downs. He's been injured too at times. So the secondary definitely will allow some chances to pass against them. But the pass rush still is pretty damn good. They have 40 sacks on the season, which is a pretty high number. So even though this defense has disappointed at times, they can get after the quarterback. Defensive end Rashawn Gary has 9 sacks. He's having a fantastic season, as he's really blossomed into being a pretty good edge rusher for the Packers. He's very explosive, very long off the edge. So definitely a guy to watch out for. They have Preston Smith there as well. They have Kenny Clark on the inside, who's always been a problem for the Bears interior offensive lineman to deal with. So the pass rush still is going to be presenting a problem probably to the Bears offensive line. It is a much better Bears offensive line though, so I do think the Bears offensive line will be more well equipped to handle this Packers pass rush, but they are pretty good at pressuring the quarterback. The run defense though has been pretty piss poor the entire season. As you can see by the numbers, they rank number 28 against the run, so they are a little bit one-dimensional in that regard in their front seven, that they are pretty good at rushing the passer, but against the run they have struggled at times, allowing some big explosive runs. So definitely an area to attack this Packers defense. But talking about the Chicago Bears, talking about their offense first of all, they rank number 16 in points scored per game, number 17 in yards gained per game, number 27 passing attack, and number 2 run game. And Justin Fields is coming off his best game as a pro. Okay, the last game he played against the Falcons, he was money going down the field. He was going through his reads pretty fast and hitting his dump off, hitting his check downs too, still making the big explosive runs we are all accustomed to seeing. But in that last game, he looked like a really good quarterback in this league. Now the question is, can he keep that going for the next game? Because so many times in Fields' career, he has been up and down. So sometimes after a really good game, he's come out there the next game and has not looked like the same quarterback. Now some of the inconsistency has been due to the inconsistency in the play calling and the coaching as well. It's not only his fault obviously, but Justin Fields himself has had some share of the blame there too, and not being as consistent from week to week. So it's going to be a very big test for Justin Fields to see if he can string together 2 good games against two playoff level teams. The Falcons were competing for the playoffs, before we beat them. And the Packers, if he can beat that team and eliminate them for the playoffs, it would go a long way again in maybe securing his position next year to be the quarterback of the future for the Bears. Because again, guys, we had the number 1 pick in the draft, and very easily Ryan Poles could pivot if he wants to a Caleb Williams or a Drake May, whoever else he wants to go after. So massive game for Fields 100%, but the lack of a number 2 receiver does hurt him a lot in this game. Darnell Mooney is in concussion protocol, and I don't think he will be playing in this game. So Mooney probably is going to be out, and Tyler Scott has not been a reliable option at the number 2 spot for him the entire season. He cannot catch the ball going downfield. So aside from DJ Moore at the receiver spot, we don't have any other reliable options. Like in this game, maybe Equanimeous St. Brown gets some targets. Maybe Colin Johnson, the big guy that we got from practice squad, he had a catch in the last game. Maybe is more involved in this game. Maybe Velus Jones gets some targets downfield, but he has his own issues, right? So it is pretty worrisome that, again, aside from DJ Moore, there's no other really good receiving option to go to at the receiver spot. Now at the tight end spot, we do have an option, Cole Kmet, but his health is going to be a major factor in this game, because in the last game, Cole Kmet did not really do much of anything because he was dealing with the injury he suffered against the Cardinals. So if that knee injury is fully healed now and Cole Kmet is ready to take on a bigger role against the Packers, that is definitely going to boost the Bears offense by a lot in the passing attack, because Cole Kmet has 678 yards on the season so far. He has 6 touchdowns, a very reliable option for Justin Fields to go to in the middle of the field. He has not had a single drop, I believe, this entire year. So very surefire hands, a guy that in the end zone is pretty big. So I really hope Cole Kmet is healthy for this Bears offense to thrive. And lastly, talking about the Bears defense, they ranked number 20 in points allowed per game, number 12 in yards allowed per game, number 21. Pass defense, number 1. Run defense. And they got embarrassed in week 1 against the same Packers team. I'm sure they remembered that in the back of their minds, and they're eager to prove differently to this team in their own house. Now, back then in week 1, it was an Alan Williams coach defense, Alan Williams calling plays, and thankfully he's gone. He's no longer calling plays. Eberflus is calling plays, and we added Phil Snow as a defensive assistant. He's been a big boost to this Bears staff, and we also added Montez Sweat, a superstar pass rusher. I think it's okay to call him a superstar at this point with how good he has been for the Bears as a pass rusher and in terms of run defense too. Okay, he has 6.5 sacks for the Bears, as well as playing fantastic against the run, adding to the Bears' number 1 ranked run defense. And as I mentioned earlier, Kyler Gordon is fully back and healthy for this game, when early on in the season he was not healthy for the majority of that game. And Tarek Stevenson, the rookie, is playing much better ball now than he was earlier in the season. So it's not the same Bears defense whatsoever as the Packers saw in week 1. It's going to be a much tougher, much more together defense, a defense playing with much more chemistry, a defense that really knows each other very well now. The linebackers in the middle are playing very good football. Both Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards. Jack Samber, when he's in there, also has been making some, big time plays against the run. So it's not the same defense as week 1. The secondary has, really blossomed into being one of the best young secondaries in all of football. Jalen Johnson should be playing in this game. According to him, he did say he's definitely going to play 100%. He is playing, according to the Danny Parkins show, which he's on every week. He said he is playing. So, CB1 is going to be back. He's not going to be fully healthy. Probably he is banged up, but even like a 60% Jalen Johnson is one of the most talented cornerbacks in football. And Kyler Gordon having a phenomenal year too. Tarek Stevenson had 2 picks in the last game. Jaquan Brisker is always all over the field. Eddie Jackson has been on and off, obviously, but at his best, he is also a ball hawking type of safety. So the secondary hopefully is going to make it tough to pass the football down the field for Jordan Love, with how aggressive they are, with how they get their hands on the football, with how disciplined they are in coverage. They do rank number 1 in the NFL with 22 picks, the Chicago Bears defense does. So hopefully we do get a few picks off of Jordan Love. But talking about my 3 keys to Bears victory, okay, how can the Chicago Bears go into Lambeau Field and upset the Green Bay Packers? And key number 1 is going to be to have an aggressive third down blitz plan if you are Matt Eberflus. Okay, in the first game against the Packers, Jordan Love was sitting back there with all day to throw the football because Alan Williams refused to show any pressure on third down. And back then we also did not have Montez Sweat. So that's why Jordan Love had literally like 3.54 seconds to throw the football every single down, and that's part of the reason why he destroyed us in that game. That cannot happen this time at Lambeau Field, especially because Jordan Love is a better quarterback now than he was in week 1. You cannot allow the same quarterback to have as much time as he did in week 1, because then again, he's probably going to put up 38-40 points on this defense. So be aggressive on third down, Matt Eberflus. He has been a lot more aggressive the past 6-7 weeks of the season ever since he took over play calling. So I'm not really worried about the Bears not doing this, but again, it is the Chicago Bears. Every time we go up against the Packers, we just forget how to play football, forget how to coach football. So I really hope Matt Eberflus does remember that on third down, you gotta send pressure against a quarterback like Jordan Love. Key number 2 then is going to be to establish the run from the very beginning of this game. The Packers have one of the worst run defenses in football, and the Bears are one of the best rushing attacks in football. So Luke Getsy, do not outsmart yourself, okay? Running the football works for this Bears team. So even though I do want to see Justin Fields taking shots downfield as a passer, mix in the run. You can run some play action off of that too if the run game is working. So you got to be able to run the football against this Packers defense. You cannot allow them to send all their pass rushers at you on third down and destroy Justin Fields in the pocket. Okay, that's what happened in week 1, and that cannot happen in this game. And then finally, key number 3 is going to be to have 4 quarters of consistency from Justin Fields. He is fighting for his life right now on the Chicago Bears, whether that's fair or unfair. Okay, I do think that Justin Fields has shown improvements as a passer this year, but if he really wants to make his case stronger to stay on this team, he has to prove to Ryan Poles that he is a good enough quarterback to beat our rivals in this division, the Green Bay Packers. And to do that, he has to be consistent for 4 quarters of football. It cannot be 2 quarters of good football, then in the 4th quarter he's fumbling, throwing interceptions. No, you have to be good in the 4th quarter too against a team like the Green Bay Packers, especially in Lambeau Field. And I know a lot of Bears fans love Justin Fields, but there's still a lot of fans out there that don't believe in him, that don't think he's a guy for the future. If Justin Fields wants to convert those fans into being fans of him, he can do that by winning this game and proving his doubters wrong, beating the Packers in their own house. And finally, it's time for my score prediction. Who do I have win this game? Guys, I have to be unbiased here, okay? Even though I'm a big Bears fan, I cannot just, lie to you guys. So I am just kidding. I obviously have the Chicago Bears winning this game by a score of 26-23. Did you guys think for a second that I would pick against the Chicago Bears in a scenario like this? Obviously, I do realize 100% that the Bears very well could lose this, because I'm always believing the Bears can beat the Packers, but it never really happens. But guys, this time around, I truly do believe it is going to happen, okay? This Bears team is playing really good football as of late. And again, I know the Packers also are playing good football themselves, but this Bears defense, man, I think it's going to give Jordan Love some problems at some points in this game, okay? Maybe he still has a respectable stat line overall, but I do think we get a couple picks in this game with how good the pass rush has been, with how good the secondary has been as well. And I think that Justin Fields against a Joe Barry-led defense can do enough to score a good amount of points. Okay, I think 26 points could be enough to win this game if our defense can have a pretty good game as well. So I really do think the Bears are actually going to pull it off and upset the Green Bay Packers at home. It would not even be that big of an upset. The Bears are only underdogs in this game by 3 points, so it's basically a toss-up. Being at home gives the home team 3 points. It's basically a toss-up according to Vegas, so Vegas would not be that surprised if the Bears win. And I just think with all that's on the line for the Bears, they might finally be the more hungry, the more desperate team, and this time they actually do have the talent also, on the defensive and offensive line to match up against the Packers. I would say the Packers still have more talent on the offensive and defensive line, but now it is a little bit closer. And with how they're disrespected in week 1, I think the Bears team does want some revenge here, and they want to go into the offseason with a happy smile on their faces. As for my offense MVP, I gotta go with Justin Fields, man. I think he has a pretty nice outing. Maybe 250, 275 total yards, including rushing and passing, which I think would be pretty good. And let me go with 2 passing touchdowns, maybe 1 fumble, just to be a little bit realistic. Maybe he does turn the ball over at least 1 time. Hopefully no more pick sixes like he oftentimes has thrown against the Packers. But I do think, with how he is playing ball right now, with all on the line for him, he goes out here and actually finally beats his rivals, the Green Bay Packers. As for my defense MVP, I gotta go with Kyler Gordon. I think Kyler Gordon not being there for the first game was a big loss for the Bears, and being here for this game with how good he is playing. Spider-Man gets 1 pick against Jordan Love and has a couple nice tackles as well in this game to be the defensive MVP. Leave your comments down below, guys. What do you guys think is going to happen in this game? I'm sure a lot of other Bears fans are also thinking the same thing as me, that we do have the chance to beat the Packers in their house. It is going to be a tough matchup. It's probably going to be close down to the wire, but I really hope, I really pray that for once in my life, the Chicago Bears can give me something to be happy about and go into the offseason with a massive win over the Packers to eliminate them from playoff contention. And if that actually happens, guys, I will be going crazy in my post-game reaction video. Like, I will be losing it and be just so freaking happy that we finally won at Lambeau Field. Leave your comments down below. As always, bear down.